25 Mexican National Guard troops left dead in operation that killed cartel leader. Mexico Security Secretary Omar García Harfuch says 25 members of the National Guard were left dead in Jalisco in 6 separate attacks after the killing of Jalisco New Generation Cartel leader Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes Guadalajara. Mexico Security Secretary Omar García Harfuch said Monday 25 members of the National Guard were left dead in Jalisco in 6 separate attacks after the killing of Jalisco New Generation Cartel leader Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes. Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho, was the boss of one of the fastest-growing criminal networks in Mexico, notorious for trafficking fentanyl, methamphetamine and cocaine to the United States and staging brazen attacks against government officials who challenged it. He was killed during a shootout in his home state of Jalisco as the Mexican military attempted to capture him. Cartel members responded with violence across the country, blocking roads and setting fire to vehicles. Also killed were a prison guard, an agent from the state prosecutor's office and a woman whom García Harfuch did not identify. He also said some 30 criminal suspects were killed in Jalisco and 4 others were killed in Michoacan. Several Mexican states canceled school on Monday, with local and foreign governments warning their citizens to stay inside after widespread violence erupted. President Claudia Sheinbaum urged calm Monday and authorities said all of the more than 250 cartel roadblocks across 20 states had been cleared. The president was expected to address the situation at her daily news briefing Monday morning. The White House confirmed that the U.S. provided intelligence support to the operation to capture the cartel leader and applauded Mexico's army for taking down a man who was one of the most wanted criminals in both countries. Mexico hoped the death of the world's biggest fentanyl traffickers would ease Trump administration pressure to do more against the cartels, but many remained hunkered down and on edge as they waited to see the powerful cartels' reaction. The U.S. Embassy said via X that its personnel in 8 cities and the state of Michoacan would shelter in place and work remotely Monday, and it warned U.S. citizens in many parts of Mexico to do the same. Cars began circulating in Guadalajara before sunrise Monday with the start of the workweek, a notable change from Sunday when Jalisco's state capital and Mexico's second-largest city was almost completely shut down as fearful residents stayed home. More than 1,000 people were stuck in Guadalajara's zoo overnight, sleeping in buses. On Monday morning, mothers wrapped up in blankets carried their toddlers out of the buses for a much-needed bathroom break as police trucks guarded the area. Soto Rendón, the zoo's director, said many had been trapped there since 9 a.m. the day before, when violence broke out in Jalisco and the surrounding states. Families were left stranded, trying to distract their children, as they decided they couldn't return home in nearby states like Zacatecas and Michoacan. "We decided to let people stay inside the zoo for their safety," Soto said. "There are small children and senior citizens." Irma Hernández, a 43-year-old hotel security guard in Guadalajara, arrived at work early Monday morning. She normally takes public transportation to work, but buses were not running and she had no way to cross the city. Her bosses organized a private car to pick her up. Her family, she said, was staying at home, too scared to leave. "I am worried because I don't know how to get home if something happens," she said. Passengers arriving at the city's international airport Sunday night were told it was operating with limited personnel because of the burst of violence. Authorities in Jalisco, Michoacan and Guanajuato reported at least 14 other people killed Sunday, including 7 National Guard troops. Videos circulating on social media Sunday showed tourists in Puerto Vallarta walking on the beach with smoke rising in the distance. David Mora, Mexico analyst for International Crisis Group, said the capture and outburst of violence marks a point of inflection in Sheinbaum's push to crack down on cartels and relieve U.S. pressures. U.S. President Donald Trump has demanded Mexico do more to fight the smuggling of the often deadly drug fentanyl, threatening to impose more tariffs or take unilateral military action if the country does not show results. There were early signs that Mexico's efforts were well received by the United States. U.S. Ambassador Ron Johnson recognized the success of the Mexican armed forces and their sacrifice in a statement late Sunday. He added that under the leadership of President Trump and President Sheinbaum, bilateral cooperation has reached unprecedented levels. But it may also pave the way for more violence as rival criminal groups take advantage of the blow dealt to the CJNG, Morris said. This might be a moment in which those other groups see that the cartel is weakened and want to seize the opportunity for them to expand control and to gain control over Cartel Jalisco in those states, he said. Ever since President Sheinbaum has been in power, the army has been way more confrontational, combative against criminal groups in Mexico, Morris said. This is signaling to the US that if we keep cooperating, sharing intelligence, Mexico can do it. We don't need US troops on Mexican soil. Oseguera Cervantes.